Most leaders seek power. Some seek fame. A rare few seek to serve. But one man did more than lead. He transformed how the world sees faith, leadership, and humility. This is not just the story of a pope. This is the story of a man who chose simplicity over luxury, compassion over control, and wisdom over status. This is what you can learn from Pope Francis today. Jorge Mario Bergoglio was born in 1936 in Buenos Aires, Argentina, the son of Italian immigrants. His family lived simply. His father worked on the railways. As a young boy, he developed two things: a deep love for learning and a powerful empathy for the poor. But at 21, a severe illness nearly took his life. Surviving that moment shaped his worldview forever. Life is a gift, and it is meant to be shared. First lesson: humility is not thinking less of yourself, it is thinking of yourself less. He chose the priesthood, not because he sought power, but because he wanted to serve. Unlike many clerics, Bergoglio refused luxury, took the bus to work, cooked his own meals, lived in a modest apartment, and spent hours in the poorest neighborhoods. Second lesson: leadership is not elevation, it is service. In 2013, at age 76, Jorge Bergoglio became Pope Francis, the first pope from the Americas, the first Jesuit pope, the first to take the name Francis after Saint Francis of Assisi, the patron of the poor. His first act: he rejected the luxurious papal residence, chose to live in a small guest house. "How can I speak of the poor while living in a palace?" he asked. Where past popes emphasized doctrine, Francis emphasized dialogue. Where others led from a throne, he led from the streets. Where many preserved tradition, he balanced it with progress. He did not build walls, he built bridges. Third lesson: speak the truth, but speak it with love. Leadership is never without opposition. As Archbishop of Buenos Aires, Bergoglio faced harsh criticism for challenging corruption, for defending the rights of the poor over the rich, and even for speaking uncomfortable truths within his own church. Some accused him of being too conservative, others too progressive. He stood alone many times, but he held fast to a core belief. Truth is not a weapon, it is a light. Fourth lesson: compassion is not weakness, it is courage. Francis visited the forgotten, prisoners, refugees, the homeless. While other leaders remained distant, he washed their feet. When asked why, he replied, "Because that is where Jesus would be." Fifth lesson: responsibility does not start with others, it starts with me. While others ignored the earth's suffering, Francis released Laudato Si', a groundbreaking call to protect the environment. The earth is our common home. We are all its caretakers. He spoke not only to world leaders, but to ordinary people, urging everyone to act. Sixth lesson: adversity reveals character. Leadership invites criticism, but great leadership invites resistance. After becoming Pope, Francis faced not only external opposition, but internal resistance from within the Vatican itself. Some cardinals resisted his reforms. Traditionalists criticized his openness. Even political leaders attacked his stance on poverty and immigration. But Francis remained unshaken. "Do not fear criticism," he once said. "Fear silence in the face of injustice." Seventh lesson: true strength is the courage to change. Many leaders defend the status quo. Francis did the opposite. He reformed financial systems in the Vatican, increased transparency, and opened long-closed doors for discussion on modern issues. from climate change to interfaith dialogue. When asked why he pursued such difficult changes, he replied simply, "The church is not a museum. It is a living body." Eighth lesson: mercy is more powerful than judgment. When others called for harsh discipline, Francis urged understanding. He emphasized forgiveness over punishment in both personal and global matters. "Who am I to judge?" became one of his most quoted and most controversial statements. But behind the simplicity was a profound truth. Mercy transforms not only the forgiven, but the forgiver. Ninth lesson: doubt is not the absence of faith, it is part of faith. As he aged, Francis faced what every great leader eventually must: physical weakness, public pressure, inner doubt. Privately, he admitted to friends and clergy, "I am a man with fears and failures." But he taught that doubt was not a flaw. It was a doorway to deeper understanding. Even Jesus asked why. Doubt can lead to greater wisdom. 10th lesson: hope is not optimism, it is endurance. In moments of global crisis, pandemics, wars, political divisions, many expected religious leaders to offer simple optimism. But Francis offered something deeper. Hope, he said, is not believing things will be easy. It is believing that good can still prevail, even when all signs say otherwise. He called for perseverance, not passivity. As the years passed, it became clear. Pope Francis was not just leading a church, he was shaping a movement toward mercy instead of judgment, dialogue instead of division, service instead of status. He redefined leadership for millions, both within and beyond faith communities. And he lived a simple truth: we are not remembered for what we have, we are remembered for how we love. In a divided world, he chose unity. In an era of noise, he chose silence. And in a time of fear, he chose hope. The question is not, what will history say about him? The question is, what will you do with the lessons he left behind? His final words were not of fear, not of regret. They were words of gratitude. Thank you for everything. Thank you for allowing me to be among the people once more. Even in his last breath, Pope Francis chose humility and left not only lessons, but a legacy that now belongs to us all. If this moved you, imagine what's still ahead. Subscribe for more timeless wisdom from history's greatest minds.